Cathedral, you mentioned you already had the word or as a title in your head before starting the record. When did you actually think, was this also maybe hand in hand with this, that you thought Cathedral is the name?
I can't actually remember how and when or why it stuck that that should be the name. But it was something that I attached to the record before, obviously it was recorded, and perhaps before, yeah, a good half of the record was even written. If you think that I was going into the studio with just ideas more than anything, maybe the word helped me unconsciously again bring things together. It's quite lucky in a way to have that.
One last question. I read that there's
You said that before.
Well, yeah.
Not that I don't mind. You can ask as many as you like.
I will have a lot of last questions actually. Just the first half of my page now. There's people. I read that the people were working on a film script based on your record.
Yeah.
How did it came to life?
Well, the producer I worked with, he had worked on a screenplay before, making this record several years before. And when he heard some of the narrative behind the record, and when we were listening back to the stuff we'd recorded in Italy, there were more conversations about how this narrative really suited a story, like a visual story. So because I had also written a couple of just prose essays about maybe characters within this, the album narrative to help me as a support, you know. When you're, as I say, guessing around in the dark with musicians, it's good to have some anchor. And then after that, I just started to write some of these things down in more screenplay prose than just chunks of writing. And I took it to a producer in London, and he seemed very interested in taking it further. So I'm now at the second stage of this process. It's very early days, but yeah, there's something there, something brewing.
What did you like about the narrative that you brought?
Well, it's about someone coming back after 15 years. Again, there's 15 years, an absence of 15 years, and coming back to a world that has probably got worse. And I think he liked the idea that the person who had come back provoked the people who he had left, who he was now returning to visit, provoked certain reactions in them. I mean, it's a very précis, simplified version of what the story's about, but...
Can it be seen as autobiographical in a way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm dedicating it to two people who are no longer here. Two people who tragically died, and I suppose it's their memory, and although it's not biographical, it was my experience of these two people in particular.
Can you mention, were they friends, close to you?
It's a long story.
Yeah, can we round up with that?
They're a brother and a sister, and I met the brother on one night, and I met the sister on another night. I knew them for literally 24 hours. And in the 24 hours, it was just through friends that I met, and it was in a particularly difficult time in, I think, all of our lives, when, you know, you're just maybe a bit reckless, careless. And I felt very aware that, you know, you didn't have to know, contrary to what I said about working a long time on things, with people and friendships, they can be everlasting, yet you may not know the person forever, or have known that person for very long. And again, these two people were probably part of the album without me really consciously being aware of it. But these details are in the story, in the screenplay, more than the record.
And they died in an accident? Or?
Well, it's probably best that I don't. Yeah, I won't go into that, just for their own. Sorry.
But the celebration of their lives is on the record, captured on the record.
The celebration of their life, I don't think is captured on the record, but I think it could be well captured within the screenplay that is linked to the record.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, man, thanks.